Hello, Western Civ104. This is our finals week, and I was mentioning to my other classes, I'm a little sad always because I get attached to each class, and I don't know, we grow together. Each class I have, it's like I get to see you guys all learn, and I actually learn each semester as well. This is why I like this profession so much. It doesn't pay great, but it enriches my life greatly, and that's important, right? And so I just want to say a few things though to cover. In terms of the final, you can choose not to do the final if you think you have enough points. But it's not my job to calculate. I don't want you to write me and ask me if you can afford to take a 0. Okay? I'm not taking my time to calculate everybody's grades. You can look at the canvas and you can make that decision. What you can do right now is, and this is what I'd like you to do anyways, if you're thinking you're not going to take the final, I want you to write to me, like send the link where you would normally send your final to, and just say, hi Mr. Pollock, I am going to take a 0 and not do the final. And I'm going to quickly try to put in that grade, and so that you can see what your grade looks like after I put the 0. If I give you the 0 and you decide that your grade changes down a notch that you didn't expect, something goes wrong, you still have time to get the final in. Okay, I'll let you do that, okay, if you want to do it that way. This is my last night in Leiden in the Netherlands. I'm so sad. I've really had a great time here. But my Europe time is just about used up. We Americans, can only get about 90 days, and then I cannot be back for around 90 days. So I'm going just straight back to Thailand, to where my cousin and his wife and kid is at. And we'll see what next adventure I can have there, but I'll be, still working and grading, doing what I've been doing. And so I'm going to be a little bit busy, but I'm going to get all the grades in. Everything's going to get graded and turned in, okay? And before I forget, I want to say that I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, great New Year, happy holiday season, whatever you do or don't do. Just I really hope it's a great season for you. And just to say, I hope that as you looked at Western civilization, that you really can appreciate this history and how it connects to your daily life, and that you can see all of the positive aspects of it. And I hope you also took note of the negative. And maybe you will notice that the legacies of the West, its good and bad, are still in full force. That's what I think would be an honest assessment if you start paying attention to the way that history is developing now. And, I think what I've decided since I've been traveling, leaving the United States and being out right now for almost 4 months, and going to various European countries and being in Southeast Asia, I'm certainly not an expert on I don't want to get a big head and think that this little experience has made me this all-knowing one. There's a poem, a line, I think it was the poet Alexander Pope. He said, "A little learning is a dangerous thing." You got to be careful not to just trust that too much. But I've really just become more fond. I'm more fond of Western civilization even than before, and at the same time, I'm also more aware, I feel like, of all of the problems that it gets criticized for. And maybe that's what needs to happen at the same time, which is, just like with the United States, people tend to like to talk about it being pure good or pure evil. The idea that anything is pure good or pure evil, I think, is not a helpful approach to things. I mean, there's some things that maybe you could say are pure evil. But in terms of what we're talking about, I think that everybody would agree that we have a wide mixed range. And I want you to also think about this. It's important while I've been out here. Things are really taking off in very crazy ways right now within the Western world. I mean the United States and Europe and other parts of the world as well. But for Europe and America, we're seeing things that we've already saw before. I think it's fair to say this is like the 1930s, okay? Straight up. And the reason why I think it's fair to say that, it's not an exact parallel. Nothing from this time is ever it's not an exact parallel. But too much is the same. Democracy and the status quo way that the economic system has been working isn't working for many people. There's a skepticism. There is a lack of belief in what people see before their eyes for various sets of reasons. And so other ideas are popping up that are making a case for an alternative. And some of these alternatives are the same alternatives that were really being offered back in the 1930s. And I don't know, we didn't talk about the 1930s in this class, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, okay? So it's very good to, I think, very important right now for all of you to really study hard and think critically and decide what side of the fence you want to be on during these times. That's what I'm saying, okay? And I don't want to try to shove a particular point of view, but to say this, I think this is a very objective and real thing to talk about. And I want to say this other thing, and this is going to sound very biased, but it's also objectively true, I would argue. Whatever you think about the platform of Bernie Sanders and the new progressives in the Democratic Party, I see in the United States they're being compared to the Soviet Union, to communists, radical socialists, Venezuela. That's a lie. That's a lie. Those systems, the platforms that they have are what Europe is doing and has been doing. And it's not radical, and it's not crazy, and it's working, actually. Okay? I've been seeing it. I've been living in the so-called socialist Europe. Okay? When in reality, there's a lot of capitalism, a lot of markets, and there's a lot of social programs, and the people like them. And yes, there's high taxes. And again, I'm not saying that there's not a fair debate on whether or not those kind of things can work in the United States or not. I'm not saying that everybody out here is happy with all these things. I'm simply trying to tell you it's not radical. And I'm telling you that it's not disastrous, okay, by any means. But, so let's just keep that discussion and debate in reality, however you want to take with that, whether you're a fiscal conservative, whatever. And just know this as well, that if you follow European politics, the word liberal, and this is actually new to me, actually, from this class. Out here, they use the term liberal more like the classical sense that it's originally used, when they're talking about economics, to be clear. So Macron in France right now is having protests due to his liberal policies. Liberal is not meaning like the Democrats. It's the opposite. Liberalizing the economy means getting rid of socialism and opening markets, letting things happen more within the market system. That's the exact opposite of the American set of politics, which also leads to confusion about what people over in Europe are having issues with or not, and then trying to link that into the United States. It gets confusing. I mean, look at we play football in the U.S., but it's different than what football is in Europe, right? Okay, so. Just, again, also not just paying attention, pay attention to vocabulary and language as it's used in the context of the place and all this kind of stuff. So, anyhow, I've just been wanting everybody to be more informed, more critical in their thinking, and to look at the world in a positive way and contribute in a positive way, whichever your value system, whatever you have, to make that a very good thing for the world. And I hope we all are going to stay in touch. And again, happy holiday season. And that's it.